Hey, welcome to Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. This is the show where we talk to live performers, singers, writers. That wouldn't be really a live performer, but singers, actors, dancers, musicians, and a lot of comics, comedians. We talk to them about their careers, what they did before COVID, how they're adjusting to COVID, what they're going to do moving forward. COVID has shut down the live entertainment industry completely across the board. This gives everyone an opportunity to catch up with their favorite performers, and the performers an opportunity to share some product, some merch, some albums, so forth, and get some support while we're going through this COVID thing. So thank you for being here. If you enjoyed the show, do me a favor, like the video first. Number one, most important, please like the video. That helps me immensely. Also, share the video if you really like the show. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. That helps a lot as well. That goes really far with YouTube. It helps us helps me to put shows up and get more attention on YouTube. Also, if you want to support the show financially, if you want to throw some money at the show, there's a couple of options for you. Bam, they're right above my head, right there. Look at that. Look at that. You can go to lennyschmidt.com/if-you-can. That's my website. You can Venmo me at Lenny Schmidt Comedy. And you can join my Patreon page, which I'll talk about later in the broadcast. You can do a monthly fee. You can pay as little as $1 on all of those options. If you enjoy the show, you enjoy the content, the interview, with the white noise, whatever you're doing with the show in the background, you can throw $1 at it, whatever you think it's worth. Just $1. It's simple. Just $1. You have an option between $1 and $10,000. There's an actual $10,000 button on my website. I'm not going to tell you how many people have used it. But it rhymes with the word zero. Anyway, please feel free to throw some money at the show. We'd appreciate it. We don't have any sponsors. The show is totally sponsored by and supported by all of the people that watch the show and some of the entertainers that have been on the show as well. So I can't thank you enough. So sit back, enjoy the show, enjoy today's episode, and we're going to start it right now. This is taped. But it won't be taped in a second. This is going to be live. Here we go. Enjoy the show. Thanks for being here. Take care. Hey! Welcome to Lenny Schmidt's Quarantine Comedy. I am Quarantine Comedy. This is Lenny Schmidt. See what I did there? I flipped everything around. How's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in. We have a bunch of viewers, a bunch of people tuning in today. I was going through the news. I'm going through the news. There's not a lot going on today. Norwegian did cancel the cruises through November, so I saw that. And, of course, the rest, also, I don't want to start things out on a crappy note, but R.I.P. to Eddie Van Halen. I've seen, I don't know how many times I've seen Van Halen. I'll be honest with you. I saw him with every singer. I was a huge Van Halen fan. And I know he's been battling cancer for years. And it saddens me that I will never see him play guitar again. But I hope he's in a better place. He was the bomb. If you ever saw him live, he was the bomb. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I'm glad you guys are all here. It's a special Tuesday night show. Things are a little different this week because I am traveling this week. I'll be traveling tomorrow. I'll put another show will be up Friday. There will be no show tomorrow. And I may do a live show Saturday. I'll let you guys know. I'm mixing some things up this week. So we'll see what happens, what I can do. I'll have the comics on that I'm working with. I don't recall who they are at the top of my mind or top. You know what? Let's find out. Let's check it since we're here. I got the whole interweb right in front of me. Why don't I just check the little notification for the show this week? I will be at the Oklahoma City Looney Bin all week long, folks. You can come out and catch me playing there. Also with me will be, where did the promo go? Let's see. Boom, boom. That's my whole bio. That does not list who's opening. Hold on, I'll have it because I have it. If I know some people are coming. Larry Warden is coming up Saturday. He's going to drive up and catch the show on Saturday, which is really, I can't wait. It'll be fun. He'll be at the Late Show. That should be a lot of fun. And we're almost there. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. Looney, Jeff, me, Looney, boom. And my good friend Jesse Allen Horn will be out too, who I think I might have on the show. He was a soloist on the Carnival cruise ships for years. He was great back when they used to make him work 8 hours a day. He was exhausted I saw him at the end of a contract. I thought he was going to die. Every time he would do 5 hours on Lido, get like a break, and then go do 4 more hours on Lido. And I would see him in the crew bar every night, and he was miserable. And he's one of those raspy country guys. Down in low places. He's one of those guys. Dude, he would be in the crew bar, wouldn't even talk. He would just sit there with water, not drinking, just wiped. Had no voice left. Okay, I am working with this week Megan Welsh will be the host. I've seen her before. I've worked with her before. She's very funny, out of Wichita. I'm looking forward to working with her again. I really love her. I love her stuff. Actually, she does a lot of cool stuff about being a single mom. I'm a huge fan of that stuff. It's cool. I like it. And then Jill Maragos is the feature act, and she's from here. This is like the 9th, 10th time I've gone to Looney Bin and ended up working with somebody and checked their bio and find out they live a mile from me. That's very weird. But that's what's going on at the Looney Bin this weekend, folks. If you're watching this and you live in Oklahoma City, come on out. I'm even going to tag Oklahoma City Looney Bin in this video. That's what I'll do. I'll tag them, and hopefully that'll work. That'll help. Let's say hello to the people that are here. We have a full plate. Oh my gosh, there are a lot of people watching. People are excited because Jeff has actually been on the show twice before. Once it went horribly wrong, and I think I had to do it through a phone. And the other time, it didn't go too bad, I think. The second time went really well. It was on that stupid software I did before. I can't remember what it was called, but it's what I did before I did Zoom, and then well before vMix. But it was another software. It was like BeLive. That was it. BeLive.com. And I had constant problems with it. So, but his show went relatively well. The Oklahoma City gigs are October 7th through the 10th. That's when I'm going to be there. So it starts tomorrow. My first show's tomorrow, and I'll be there through Saturday. Okay, Larry Warden, I talked to him. He'll be here next week. Thank you, Safe Travels. I appreciate that, Gar. Larry and his wife will be at the 10 o'clock show. If you're going to be there, come out and say hello to Larry Warden, who's a great guy. He's helped me out. He helps me out with some of my tech stuff. And he helps me out when I forget to turn my sound down. He's the first one to text me and go, dude, sound. He's like the first one. So it's really, he's saved a number of shows. Hi, Robbie Davis. Thanks for being here. Hi, Robin Greenberg. Good to see you. I think I saw Rachel on here too. Hi, Rachel. I just sent you a message real quick. I'll message. Most of you guys know this already, I think. The Schmidts show was Saturday, which was the live streaming stand-up show that I do. I know if you're a Patreon member, it's free. Or you can pay for a ticket, which is I will always install and use the pay whatever the hell you want plan, which is you just go to one of the payment options. Bam, look, there they are, and you can pay whatever you want. Throw it $1, whatever, and you get in for the show. But anybody that was at the show Saturday, anyone that bought a ticket Saturday, you will get a free link to the next show, which will be October 24th. I thought it would be kind of cool to do another streaming show, one that I did Saturday, trying to remember my act. And then one on the following Saturday when I get home, when I have remembered it, and I've done 10 shows. So it's kind of like a before and after. So I think that's cool. I think we'll give that a shot. Besides that, I think we're good, man. Let's get rolling. We got stuff to do. It's a Tuesday. I know you guys are all busy. I can't thank you enough for joining me on an off night. Thank you for the viewers that are here all the time. You guys are great supporters. I thank you all the time. But, man, thanks so much. For being here on an off night. I appreciate it. Now, your guest, folks, your guest tonight is a very good friend of mine. We've had him here a couple times before. He's been a comic for many years, for decades. He's been around forever, just like me. He ran around a long time. He lives in Ohio. He's done every type of. He's one of those guys who's done everything, man. It's been around multiple years. He helped launch the Punchliner on Carnival Cruise Lines, and for years he was the house manager on the Carnival Dream. And I loved working with him because he always had new material, and he really respects comedy. He's a great guy to watch, a great guy to work with. Let's hear it for. Let's take a look at my good friend Jeff Shaw.
Scariest thing about being in my 50s is my parents are in their 70s, which means if I make it to my 70s and my parents make it to their 90s, I could conceivably wind up in the same assisted living facility as my parents. I'd be the only loser in the history of losers to still live at home in a home. My dad told me that I had to teach him how to use his new computer because 45 years ago, he wasted an entire weekend teaching me how to ride a bicycle, and I owed him. So I sat him down at the keyboard and went, "Come on, you big sissy, you can do it!"
Folks, that's him right there. That's the one and only. Let's bring him out here to on stage. I always say this. Let's bring him on stage, folks. My good friend Jeff Shaw. Here he comes. Hold on, Jeff Shaw. Boom, there he is. Jeff Shaw. What's up, brother?
Hey, man.
Dude, good
Thanks
to have
for
you.
Playing that.
Dude, I love that clip. I got to be honest with you. Last time you were here, I think I was looking at your dry bar special, and I think I might have played some of that. But when I looked at that clip, dude, that's a funny clip. That's 15 minutes from McCurdy's. That's money. That's a really funny clip, and I don't think I've ever seen that bit before. I love that bit.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate. I'm glad you played it too, because sometimes I forget how sexy my voice is.
You need a little reminder.
But seeing myself in action, I'm like, okay, now I know why people want to listen to me to an hour. Yeah.
Now it all makes sense. It makes complete sense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because everybody's voice sounds different in your head than it does to other people. You know, you realize that when you start performing, you start to figure that out because you hear your voice all the time. You're like, at the beginning, you're like, what is that? And you're like, it's your voice.
Yeah, I hope my voice sounds different to other people for their sake.
This would be horrible. I can only hope they're hearing something different than I'm hearing.
And McCurdy's, that's such a great club. I was supposed to be there this month, but they're not reopened yet. So we'll hopefully get back there soon.
I have never played McCurdy's, man. I want to get in there so bad. I want to. I'll reach out to him. I'll reach out to him again. I mean, I know a lot of guys over there. A lot of the ship guys work there. Tons of guys. DeCrosta, everybody goes over there. I just never made it over that way.
I'll put in a word for you. It's a beautiful club. They do it right. Not only is it a great comedy club, but they have a great holding bar. They have a great open mic scene, so they have open mic shows after the show. And they also have, besides a great kitchen, they have a comedy academy. So they have classes and all kinds of different shows they put on,
right on.
With up-and-coming comedians. Yeah, and Les McCurdy's a great comic himself, so he often MCs the show, and he gets great comics from all over Florida, but all around the world. So yeah, it's really one of the top clubs.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I have met Les in Chicago, but years ago. It was a really long time ago, and there was a week or something. He was in town, and we ran into each other. At those functions after shows, comics all hang out and show up at the same bar. Chicago had a couple places like that, Burton Place and a few other joints where all the comics would just be. And so I ran into him a bunch of times, and we just never connected afterwards. But yeah, he is a great guy and a good comic. He's really awesome.
Yeah, and they run the club great too. I mean, so it's really a shame when you see a top-notch club like that, a top-notch operation, have to close down for so long.
I hope he's okay. I hope he gets back and he's okay. You know what I mean? Those are the clubs you worry about. Those are the ones you're like, oh man, I hope they can weather the storm and get through this and be all right. And And plus, on top, a side note, I have mentioned this before. Any comedy club that's run by a former comic is always a great deal. It seems like it's always run better. You know what I mean? And it's not just down to it's not just the way they treat the comics and other things. They just get the whole thing. They get the whole thing. They understand the whole setup of the show. If there's a problem in the room, they're on it quick. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of issues and problems with comics. They just know how to run a room. It's really refreshing. I feel relieved when I show up, and the guy will be like, "I used to be a comic. Now I run the room." I'm like, "Oh, great. That means there'll be no problems this week." Yeah.
And I agree with you 100%. And that's the type of sensibility that I brought, or that I brought to the Punchliners for all those years for Carnival.
Right.
Because when you guys...
Go ahead.
When you guys showed up, I wanted to make sure that, because when you travel and you have to get ready for a show, and for a cruise ship, you know how it is. The audiences are always different. You have a diverse demographic. You're getting up at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning to fly. Then you have to get to the ship. And then sometimes they have you performing in a couple of hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also they grade you very strictly on cruise ships. So it's doubly hard when the deck is stacked against you, when the hosts create an environment that makes it more difficult for you to perform, and then you sit in the back and they grade you because of it. So I always wanted to make sure that when you guys got there, you didn't have to worry about anything but like having the best show possible.
Yeah, you definitely made it a lot easier, and that's a good point. One of the hardest things to do would be those back when they don't do them much anymore. I don't know. I mean, the format's going to change now, but you don't get, not too often do you do 3 shows in a night, but I always hated when I would have a long travel day and a layover and a delay, and you get on the ship at 3 right before they sail, and you're like, when's my show? Well, you have 3 shows. You have a 7:30, 8:30, and a 10:30. You know what I mean? And it's like 4:30. You're like, oh, great. So now you can't forget the nap. You got to unpack, you got to iron your stuff. You know what I mean? It's a whole getting ready for the show and be mentally prepared for 3 shows. I hated that. That was the hardest thing. That's one of the hardest things to do, is to perform 3 multiple shows on a travel day.
How about this? Has it ever happened to you when you get to one of the, like say the Sunrise or the Vista, where they have the Limelight Lounge type of setup, and they do like the Sunshine would do multiple shows, and you would get there and the other comic didn't show up, so you would do 5 shows in one night?
I've had that before. Yeah, I've had it. First time I did that, I thought that was a great idea. I was like, oh, this will be great. I get all 5 shows out of the way in one night. I'll just stay back there. You know, you stay, because then you only have 15 minutes between every show. So I bring my backpack and my book with me, and I just go and I hang in the club for the whole night. I'm there. And it seemed like a great idea, but at the end of the day, because I'm a high energy guy too on stage. So after 5 shows, people are like, you want to go to the crew bar? And I'm like, no. No, I want to go to bed. I was exhausted. I was wiped. I'm all drenched in sweat. I mean, there's just 5 straight shows. It's just brutal. Not to mention the work it does on your voice and your chords. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And the best thing about that is the next couple of days when you're off, when you're walking around the ship and people go, oh, wow, we loved your show. You're like, did you see show number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
Which one were you at? You must have been at the 4th one. You're like, oh, the 2nd one. Really? All right. Thanks. You're like shocked. Hello, and they go, you're great in a bad show. What you think is a bad show? Like, you were great last night, 6:30. I'm like, oh, thanks. I want to go, where were you during the show? Because the response wasn't really exactly. This is a better response than I got during the show last night, frankly, this conversation.
And I liked something that you said last week. I forgot who you were talking to, but how to be a cruise ship comic, you really have to be a journeyman act. I mean, most of the comics that would come to my club had 20 to 30 years under the belt.
Yeah.
And I would say the minimum would have to be 10 years of headlining to really be able to adapt. Yeah. And because, you're doing multiple shows, different sets. And the thing is, you have a diverse demographic. People don't understand that when you're on that stage in the comedy club in the back of the ship, you've got like rednecks over here, rich people over here, kids with blue hair and nose rings over here.
Yeah.
You've got computer geeks over here. You have every demographic, and they expect you to make them all laugh just as hard with no opening act and a lot of noise and a lot of distractions. And that's a tall order to be able to perform under those conditions and to also enjoy it,
Yeah, and to do it and be consistent through the whole show, not just one laugh. You got to make that whole room laugh the whole 30 minutes or however long, the show goes. Yeah, you're right. It's like a micro bubble of the world. I mean, everybody in the world, and the longer the cruise, it seems like that too. Like shorter cruises, a lot of times it'll be a lot of younger people in a booze cruise kind of venue. But if you get to a longer cruise, man, those are people save their whole year for that, like a 7-day cruises, they've been waiting their whole year. Or some people do it every year. Every January we're on whatever. And there's a bunch of families I ran into. They're like, every January we go on a cruise somewhere. And they save, and it's a big deal. So a 7-day cruise, you get lots of different people from all over the place that are all there. It's just it's pretty amazing.
And what's going to be interesting is a thing that a lot of people don't understand is it takes so much work to be able to get into the groove. After a year or 2 of being a fly-on again, after I retired from my position as comedy club manager, I was finally doing 5 shows. And when I would get like 4 cruises in a month, And I would just be up there. I would be so comfortable, and I had all my sets worked out. And no matter what happened, I would be able to deal with it. And then, as you know, it's such a particular skill set, being able to go from the PG shows to the R-rated shows, the change from one cruise to the next, and the demographic and the energy. You know, you might be on a cruise with an older demographic, one cruise going to Alaska or Hawaii, and then the next week you're on a party cruise, a 3 or 4 day to Nassau. And it really gets your comedy muscles in shape. What I'm worried about is so many of us haven't worked cruise ships for months. It might even be a year by the time some of us get back on.
Yeah.
I hope they're going to understand how much work it's going to take for a lot of us to get back into that groove.
Well, I hope they do, but it's one of the things I'm looking forward to that, because I like the fear. I embrace the fear of being back, because I like both parts of it. There's two parts. There's the fear part, where you got to get it together and you got to get the shows well, and you want to screw it up. You want to get your shows back in line. And then I also like the comfortable point where I'm so, like you said, 4 cruises, 4 weeks in a row. You got it down. If something comes up and they're like, oh, we need an extra show. And you're like, yeah, I'll just do my 4th adult show. I'll do that. That's good. And you go up. I mean, you got it all down and synced so well that you could do it in a bus stop if you had to right now. Do your 3rd act. Sure. Blah, 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 blah. And you just got it down. So, but I like that. I like the scary feeling of trying to remember everything again. It's kind of exciting.
Oh, wow. You and I are so different. Yeah. If I want fear, I'll look at my checking balance. I don't.
Put that down. Close your eyes.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. So I'll give you an example. Like I hope I'm doing that heavy lifting now, so that hopefully I don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting on the ships. I think, other than some of my ship specific sets that have a lot of my ship oriented material and talking about my life on ships, I've been doing a lot of Zoom shows, and I'm starting to do comedy clubs again. And I find that doing a lot of the Zoom shows, where I get to do 45 minutes to an hour, or where I get to do like open mics, like for 5 minutes every night, with a lot of the local scene comics in whatever city, that I've really been able to get my chops back. So, and I'm so worried about being ready for the call when I get called back to a ship, that I'm going out to the loony bins too, but because there's so many comics and because of my style, I'm not going out as a headliner. I might headline me 1 week and maybe do a split week, or maybe like a triple feature show, whatever.
Yeah, he does those feature shows. Those are good.
Yeah. But when people realize a great chain like that has like hundreds of comics, so if you even get on the roster, that means they like you. So what the idea for this run that I'm doing is about maintaining my act. It's not about making money. It's about going out for a month, playing great clubs every weekend, and working on new material, working on my on stuff, and being in the middle spot or a co-headliner. You've got all that time to you're in the sweet spot. So sometimes, so what I've been doing is I've been making sure that I'm still working on my career, still trying to get gigs, still trying to make money, still really spending, 10 hours a day at my computer, emailing, doing all the legwork. But, sometimes you have to go out and workshop. So I'm looking forward to doing that run, because you have to be on stage as much as you can when you go back to the ships.
Right.
And
you have no choice but to go out and workshop. It's kind of it's how we're built up and we're made. The only reason that we're doing that so much, or you have to do that now, you're smart for doing it, because a lot of guys are just going, well, when I get back to it, I'll figure it out, and I'll be back. And I think that's a mistake. Also, you want to stay relevant. You can't just go back with the same material you're doing an hour ago. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world right now. If you don't go on stage, and if you're not inspired by something that's going on right now and talking about it on stage, you're doing yourself a disservice. I think you really are. You have a lot of opportunities to grow as a comic. So there's two things. You can write a ton right now. There's a ton of material, and stand up is like acting is like, it's like a muscle. You have to keep working it. You know that, exactly, you're doing the right things.
Right.
One of the things I enjoy about workshopping is just getting back out there. When I mentioned the fear, it reminds me when I started out. You bring brand new stuff out there, which is one thing that you always did on The Dream, which is always really impressive when you hosted the show. You worked hard to bring new material for every show. Well, first of all, you're doing way more shows than the rest of us are doing. Even though I'm doing 30 minutes during the headline set, if there's two comics and you're doing at least 10 shows a week, in front of the...
I was doing 20.
Yeah, in front of the same... Yeah, you're right, 10 shows a week. 10, right, so 20 shows a week. So in front of the same audience, yeah, you're doing that many... That's 20 shows. That's 20 shows in front of the same audience. So you have got to be...
Yeah, at the end of my 8 years, I had to do 20 shows. I had 26 5 to 10 minute sets.
That's so fantastic. That's great.
And then my final contract was on the Splendor. I was no longer on the Carnival Dream. And because of budget cuts, I couldn't have my standalone position anymore. Mm-hmm. So I had to be a cruise staff entertainment host, and I did all the other activities. But the trade-off was is they told me that if I played ball and did my best, they said, being in your 50s, we don't expect you to catch up with all the 20-year-olds all the time.
You can't go do the whole the 20-year-old run around the ship all day long. Yeah. Sure. Okay, yeah. That would look great, by the way. That's a sitcom.
Yeah, there you go. I'd be a fish on the water. So they said, if you do your best and just do what we ask you to do, we're going to give you your own shows on the off nights. So on the off nights, when the other comics, when the comics, the comics left and the new comics weren't there yet, for 6 months I was doing my my 3 shows, my 3 contractual shows, the 1 PG show and the 2 R shows, and then so halfway through my 6 months, I was booked up through December as a fly-on, and I was doing all my sets. And also, for the last few years, when I on the Dream and also in the Splendor, is I would get paid not as much as the comics, but I would get paid like a third. I get like $100 a show. Anytime you guys missed the ship, I would get the headline and fill in the shows, and they would pay me for them. Yeah. And that happened a lot until they finally realized that maybe I shouldn't be the guy sending the comics their itineraries.
They found a glitch in the system. They go, wait a second.
Where are you at, Jeff? I thought you said I was supposed to be there on Sunday. I said, no. I said it's sunny today.
Yeah. The corporate's like, Jeff, why are the comics in Jersey? I don't know. I told them. That's hilarious.
I don't know, but let's go to the crew bar.
Drinks on Jeff. Drinks on the fun guy. Fling. That's the best. Yeah, but that's...
so...
Yeah, that's the best. Well, but you're always constantly writing. You always constantly getting the material up there. That's a great position to be in, and you took advantage of it. You know what I mean? By getting those extra shows. Right. Some people would be, I don't want to do an extra show. But I'm like you. If I can do an extra show, I'm like, I can do an extra show. You're like suddenly, because and once you start working as a fly-on, you have your shows, and like you said, we're rated. They're very strict. They mess around. You can't have bad shows. You get maybe 1 bad show. You get 2 bad shows on a contract. You're not, you're getting knocked down a peg. You've got to be consistent. So you don't get an opportunity to work on new material. So when they say, can you do an extra show? That's kind of an opportunity. You're like, oh, well, I can throw out some new material maybe there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it really gives you, so any opportunity to work on new material when you're working consistently on ships is a bonus, because you don't have that opportunity during the regular shows.
And another thing is, I got that opportunity when I'd already been a comedian for 20 years. So when I came to Carnival Cruise Lines to become a cruise director, and then they decided they wanted to put me in charge of the comedy club program, because a great friend of mine, a great comedian by the name of Lance Montalto, missed the Carnival elation in 2007 or 2009, and I filled in for him. And that's when Carnival was putting together the first Carnival Comedy Club for the Carnival Dream, which eventually became the Punchliner program. And so when I filled in for them, they said, hey, we need somebody to run this program. Jeff used to be a comedian. He can do a headline set. He knows all the activities. He's been on the ships for 2 years. Let's give him a shot at this. So when I went into it, I had already been a comic. So when I was doing those 20 sets a week, and I had all day to sit and write material, and I was, few hours a day, I would help the office with various projects to get the program up around the fleet.
Right.
But for the most part, I would sit at my little computer there in the comedy club and work on material all day, and then try the stuff out. And I knew back then that I had to take advantage of that opportunity, and I see it now. I mean, I'm doing fairly well in getting stage time and doing a lot of open mics online and some in person, but there's really nothing like doing 20 sets a week to full crowds in a captive audience, someplace where you don't have to travel,
right?
Where you can really, really grow. And I did. My life was so difficult on the ship, being in my 40s and then later on in my 50s, sharing a cabin. Having a roommate, working, and after a while having to do all those activities, it was so difficult that I had to make it worth it. And I go, I don't know when I'm going to get an opportunity like this again.
Right.
And I'm glad I took it that way, because, but when you're talking about the fear, one thing that I wanted to say was, I think it's changed a little bit. Like, at least for me back then, I could really work on getting my material perfect. Nowadays, even with doing Zoom shows and local open mics, I think a lot of us are going to have to get comfortable with generating lots of new material without it being perfect, because we're not getting, sometimes you'd write a bit, then you go on the road for 2 months and you'd work it out, or you'd go a month worth of ships and you go, okay, I'm going to have this 5 minutes worked out by the end of these 6 cruises.
Right.
Nowadays, if a couple live shows in 1 month, maybe a couple of virtual shows, we just don't have the time to constantly. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm writing a lot of material, and some of it isn't perfect, but I'm getting really good at really trying to find the essence of bits in the limited amount of time I have to develop the bits.
Right.
And I'm constantly feeling excited, but you're right. I'm constantly, like, every show that I get, I'm excited about working, and I'm excited for the show, but also that fear, because it's very rare now to have a show where you feel like you're totally together.
Yeah, you got
it
together.
Firing on.
Well,
and when you're doing it.
I always liked that fear, because I studied improv for years. So improv completely changed me as a stand-up comic. It taught me to be in the moment, and it brought me to my belief that every show is its own living, breathing thing. So I go into the audience quite a bit, and I have an outline of what I'm going to do, and I'll start with the outline, and I'll go into the audience, and then I'll just let it develop from there. So even if I'm in a situation where I'm back on a ship and it's all new again, it's almost like every show I've done before. It's just a little bit fresher. You know what I'm saying? You've got to really let everything develop around you, and it's going to be important for everyone to understand that. Anyone that's real strict about their joke, their setup, their joke, their setup, their joke, setup, that's going to be hard. That stuff is hard to develop. That's the hardest stuff to develop now, because, like you said, there's no feedback. There's nowhere to work it out. The Zoom shows are great because they at least let you word them out and get some sort of feedback and something. I mean, it's better than nothing. For a Zoom show, I think is definitely better than nothing, because like you said, comics it's the only business that we fail a million times before we nail it, and they go, oh, look, there it is. It's kind of, we've got to figure that format out. So when we get back out on ships, people are going to have to be in a mindset that I got 30 minutes, and it's not, plus the crowds are going to be excited. They can't wait to get back. You go to that first show in that auditorium, in the big room in the theater, it's going to be packed with people that can't wait to see a show. So the fear level of that is going to be, I'm already getting goosebumps thinking about it, going, yeah, that's going to be, I can't, let's do, but you got to totally, what helps there for me, this is why improv changed me and helped me as a stand-up. You've got to completely trust yourself. I mean, you have to completely 100% trust. I've been doing this a long time. I've done it before. I can figure this out. I've been working. I haven't been sitting around doing nothing. I've been working. It just hasn't been perfect and ideal the way I want. I trust that I can make this work. And that's where improv saved me. Is like every show I'm like, I trust I can fix this. I trust that this show will get. You have to trust yourself so much.
And I remember one of the things, I mean, you and I have had this station in various forms on various ships. And I remember sitting in the staff mess one day, and we were talking about acting and improv, and you gave me some tips that I still use to this day. Is that when I'm up there, I'm not performing, I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah.
And I want to lose myself in my own material. And when I concentrate on what it is I'm trying to express, and whether it's an emotion, like instead of concentrating on the wording of a joke, I want to concentrate on, is this something that makes me angry? Is this something that weirded me out? Is this something that I think is really stupid? And I want to, so it's more about what I want to convey to the audience. And if I'm hooked into the audience and and I'm just like thinking how I want to express myself to them, then I automatically find the right words and the right rhythm because I'm a pro. And so trusting, I'm able to trust myself because I'm letting go of myself and I'm thinking about the audience and thinking of like how I want to communicate with them instead of thinking of the technical like mechanizations of like getting this joke to work or saying this correctly. When you concentrate on, oh, I better say this correctly, or how did I say that the other day? Or what's the funniest way to say this? You're not going to be in the moment. Right. But if you just think of, hey, this happened to me today, and this is stupid, I want the audience to know what happened.
Right.
Then I find if I've done my homework and I've worked the joke out, that and then, when people say they write on stage, I'm a guy who writes out every single thing I do.
Right.
But then when I do that and I take that to the stage, I'm now at a point now where I can ad-lib a whole new punchline, or add a tag, or find a whole new direction and beef up the joke on stage.
Sure.
And I realize that what you're doing is you're trusting yourself and you're bringing all your skill and all your writing skills and all your experience to bear by getting into that zone. Mm-hmm. And by trusting yourself, you let all that happen when you second guess yourself. So basically, you told me that like a couple of years ago, and it's been working for me.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad. It's true. It's totally true. You, first of all, if you trust yourself and then you do what you said, you have your stuff written out and you beef it up when you're on stage, you're basically using all of the tools that you have at your capability to do the best you can. It's brilliant. And everybody works different ways. Like I create more stuff on stage and you write more stuff and then punch it up. I'm the opposite. I'll create on stage and fix it off. I'll listen to it and go, I got to drop it, fix whatever. But every joke, I look at every joke like the best thing you said was not worry about the technical. Every joke is almost like a scene in when you're acting or in an acting class or when you're acting. When you're as an actor, you're taught have a motivation, have a reason to be there, and have a goal. Mm-hmm. And every joke is kind of a goal. You want the audience to understand what you're saying. Some guys can spew out the words and make the words. Like George Carlin was a brilliant wordsmith. He could do everything with words. He was a genius. He was the best. I could never do anything with words. My stuff has to come from the emotional. It has to come with I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, whatever. So every joke focuses on those feelings. And if you get the motivation across to the audience, they feel that. They connect. That's how they connect with me, is the emotion. They're like, yeah, that's bullshit. They'll agree or they won't agree. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Don't leave, Jeff. Dude, I did today's show. I did today's show with incense. I burnt incense. I'm like, oh man, it might be kind of cool to have some incense burning during the show. Kind of a real hippie moment thing. But I didn't turn on the fans or open the windows, so I'm smoked. My eyes are killing me. I'm like, there's so much smoke in here. So I'd open up the windows and turn on the fans. I'm like, okay.
That would have been cool to slowly see that backdrop start burning.
No, I wasn't thinking.
Man.
I thought about it. I'm like, is that my desk?
What kind of program do you use that you make that burning effect?
That's a great software. By the way, I got to go because I got to upload it again. Bye, click.
Yeah. It's called Dumbass 2.0.
It is Dumbass point. Yeah, I developed it, by the way. Hang on. People are asking questions. Some of the people are asking questions that are watching the show. I want to get to these.
No, I can't see them. I'm in the interface. I don't have the Facebook.
Yeah,
Live,
yeah, no,
so.
I got them. I'm sorry, I cheat that way. I'm sorry, but they're people that are watching on YouTube Live. They post comments. So the biggest questions right now are about the guitars behind you. Is there a story behind the 2 guitars? What's the deal with the guitars on the wall?
Well, I'm a guitar player. That was my midlife crisis. I couldn't afford a Corvette, so I got 2 red guitars instead. And I love heavy metal guitar. I'm a huge metal fan, and but I really suck. I suck so bad at the guitar that Nickelback asked me to join the band.
Well played.
Now, who asked that? Now, I'm not saying Nickelback is a bad band. I'm just saying I'm a bad guitar player. Yet I can play every Nickelback song. So you do the math. But I fell in love with the guitar, electric guitar. I fell in love with the guitar when I was a kid because I was a John Denver fan, hence the hairstyle. But I discovered Kiss in 6th grade, and my mom took me to my first Kiss concert. My dad took me to my second Kiss concert, and a drifter paid by my mom and dad took me to my third Kiss concert.
Hey, what are you doing?
And see the Kiss lamp next to the guitar.
Yeah.
That guitar right there is a Jackson Dinky, and the one over there is a Epiphone Les Paul. I have 2 Eddie Van Halen Access copies, one purple and one Honey Burst.
Yeah.
I had these out because you were talking about Eddie Van Halen passing, and I've got this baby right here. It's a Schecter Banshee with a Floyd Rose, and I have another Les Paul over there, and I have all these guitars, but I'm still paying on my car, and I don't own any property.
You have a lot of guitars for a guy that can't play. That's very impressive.
Yeah. I can play enough. I mean, I can rip out. I can play over backing tracks and play like the first 2 minutes of my favorite metal songs from the '80s.
Oh yeah, right on, of course.
Yeah, instead of playing video games, But then that Kiss lamp right there, Kiss is like my favorite band. I mean, for nostalgic reasons,
right?
Like Van Halen, Iron Maiden, Rush, Kiss, and that is a Bradford Exchange Kiss lamp that my mom and dad got me for my 53rd birthday. And I was like, Mom, this is like my favorite worldly possession. Do you think that means I'm emotionally stunted? And she said, no, sweetheart. All it means is you have great taste in music, and you'll have a really nice piece of furniture should you ever move out and get a place of your own.
Oh, your mom's so loving. That's so sweet.
Yeah. But I play through my computer, and I've got like programs that I can play along to, and there's so much to learn online, and then what really stinks though is like I watch all these videos on YouTube to learn how to play.
Yeah.
And then I stumble across these YouTube videos of these 8-year-old, 9-year-old prodigies.
Yeah.
Just ripping it up like Yngwie Malmsteen or Eddie Van Halen. They're playing like Eddie Van Halen solos note for note at 9 years old.
Yeah.
And I feel like posting a video of my own to show these kids, a video of me walking into a guitar store and buying a Les Paul with a credit card.
Look at me. Fling.
Yeah.
Look at me.
And guess what, kid? I drove myself to the guitar store.
Look at you.
In your face.
Getting back at the kids. That's hilarious. Yeah, shut up, you stupid kid. I showed you.
Yeah, in your face, Heidi Van Halen.
That's hilarious. You ever see the one? What's the one of the little 6-year-old girl playing drums? She does Tom Sawyer. Ever seen that one? That girl's phenomenal, and she crushes it. That's Neil Peart. You can't just mail that in. You know what I mean? She's a little.
Oh yeah,
the sticks are bigger
amazing.
than her. She's just wailing away.
I know. And meanwhile, I've been working 4 weeks on an Uber joke.
Yeah. To each his own. What are you gonna do? Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. 4 weeks, one Uber joke. Oh my God. That's funny.
What are some more questions? What are some more questions?
Let's see. Well, they want to know if somebody wants to know if there's anywhere they can see you live doing stand up, or where you at? Will you get some dates coming up?
Yes.
You want to throw out?
Yeah, I do. I will be working this Friday and Saturday at Keller's Comedy and Magic Club in Erie, PA, 7 o'clock each night. I'll be my opening act will be a very talented. This is Comedy and Magic Month, so this month they're having both comics and magicians on the stage, and the comedy club is owned by Bobby Borgia, who works for Carnival Cruise Lines. He's one of the talent producers for the production shows, and he is a very, I mean, not just talented, but an amazing mentalist and magician himself. And he was one of the first fly-ons I ever met and worked with on Carnival. And he bought the old Junior's Last Laugh in Erie. So I'll be doing shows there. And Eric Thompson and I are going to be doing the greatest magic trick anyone has ever seen. Instead of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, we're going to be pulling an audience out of their homes.
Oh, wow. All right. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Especially these COVID days. That's really impressive. That's good.
Everybody... They're saying it. They're saying it can't be done, but I've got one half-price cheeseburger waiting for me after the show that says they're wrong.
Dude, the stakes are so high, Jeff.
Yeah, but it's an amazing. It's called Keller's. It's named after one of the greatest American magicians of all time, the dean of American magicians, Helen Keller. You thought that doing magic was hard, being able to see, talk, and hear, but no, it's I think Harry Keller was his name, and they have a mini museum to him, and it's an amazing bit. And then I'm going to be Halloween weekend, Thursday through Saturday. I'm going to be at the Comedy Caravan in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, great club! All right, right on, nice.
And then the first week in November, the 6th and 7th, my birthday is the 8th, is going to be One Night Stands in Detroit. It's a great club. Then I'm going to be the 14th, the Fort Wayne Comedy Club. And then the 20th, 21st, I'm going to be at Gutty's Clean Comedy Club in Indianapolis. And then I don't know my schedule for the, those are all headline dates. And then I'll be doing my my workshop weeks for the Looney Bin, and maybe headlining, maybe co-headlining, maybe featuring. So, and then I have a lot of virtual shows, and I have an album coming out this fall, hopefully this month. It's going to be on Tour Records. It's called Jeff with 2 F's. And that's coming out. And my you can check out my Dry Bar Comedy special on YouTube or Facebook. It has like 10 million views all together, all my clips, including the special. The full special has like 10 million views on Facebook.
Nice. Dude, that's great.
Yeah. So I've gone diamond, like Nickelback.
Dude, look at you. Dude, you got it going on. You also got way more work than I do, dude. That's a lot of work on the table. Good for you, man, finding work like that in this COVID time. I don't know how much stuff is opening up or what's going on or anything, but you seem to have found the places. That's great.
Yeah, and some of the stuff, you know, like we're just helping out the comedy club, working for almost nothing, you know.
I know.
To get, you know, gas money or a meal, whatever. But we all have to help everybody because the clubs don't survive, you know. But it's a lot of hustling, man. It's so hard now because I work. Like today, I sat at my desk at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I left at like 7:30 to go for a walk, and it's like now you can work all day to get one show or to get some leads, you know, and then you know, constantly up doing all the promo, Facebook ads, Facebook events. Today I updated my schedule on my website and talked about all my gigs. And it's just like, but I find that's the only thing. Like me, I have, you know how you're talking about that fear that keeps you going, you know, for the shows. I think what keeps, you said I got a lot of work on the table compared to other guys. I won't be able to see that because I just look at the blank space on my computer, on my
Calendar.
planner, and panic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that fear of, most people are afraid of dying in a plane crash, or being taken hostage by terrorists. I have a fear of working in a restaurant or a cubicle,
Right.
or like, having people get in my car and ask me to take them someplace. That's so
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, that'll motivate you, man.
yeah. So it's weird. It's like, I'm the work soothes me and it gives me hope because I'm seeing the needle moving. I'm I'm getting phone calls. People are seeing me online. I'm booking stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm writing new material. But I don't. I'm better motivated by joy and inspiration than fear. So I feel like I'm carrying this heavy weight around, but I'm getting the work done. So what I've learned is like when you take the stage, you go on stage in front of those 2,000 people, your first cruise back, you're going to be terrified, but we go up there and we do it anyway, and we pull it off.
Yeah.
And usually that adrenaline or that fear puts us into that, fight or flight response where all of our experience comes to bear, and we have like one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
Well, I find that although it's not pleasant at all, that when my career is, when my back's against the wall, I find a way to get back on my feet, but it's not fun or easy, but I do it. And what I've been telling people is, this pandemic has actually been kind of good for my self-esteem, because although I've lost and like those gigs that I'm going to be doing for the Looney Bin, those are replacing like great headline gigs that I had all lined up, and cruises I had lined up.
Yeah.
But you have to make do. So what I tell people is, although I've lost like all my big cruise ship gigs and casino gigs and corporate gigs for like the rest of the year, this is like the first time in my entire life where losing my job wasn't my fault. So it's kind of cool.
That is true, though, man. Yeah, you do. No, everybody. Well, everybody's got a little bit of that. I mean, our whole lives, none of this is our fault. You know what I mean? Everybody's life's been turned upside down because of all of this. But dude, I'm always
easier. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
And it makes it easier in a way because I think with me, when I don't have work, or I lose work, or I can't get booked, or like when things are down, I feel ashamed, and I feel like it's my fault, or I feel like I did something wrong, or I just feel like maybe I shouldn't be in this business anymore. But now when you realize that everybody's in it together, we're all in it together, then I realize that what I'm going through right now, I can have more pride by being able to face it, being able to, every booking I get, like these bookings I just told you about, they're not for a lot of money, but I'm very proud to have been able to keep working now. And each gig I take super, super seriously. And it's like training for a prize fight, because now, instead of feeling like, a loser, you feel like, okay, I think my back's against the wall, but I feel like because everybody else is going through the same thing, that we can't give up. And it's a much different feeling when you screw up your own career, and you have regrets.
Yeah. Well, that's usually followed by, bottles of scotch going, what was I thinking? Just something like that. Miserable. I screwed up. I can't believe I did that. Yeah. Now it's.
Well, and in my case, a can of Ready Whip and the Gilmore Girls.
Wow. We are very different people.
Yeah, man.
But I'm always a big believer, too, in keep moving forward, man. Even if keep moving forward. I mean, it's a testament to you to be able to nail and find all those gigs and be able to get out and do them. I even like you talk about not being ashamed because you have to go out there and do what you got to do. I feel the same way. I do Uber Eats at night. My big thing I try to teach the kids, and this situation is really unique because so many things happen that were out of our control. First of all, we lost the ship gig. I was actually at a point where I felt very comfortable on the ship gig, and I was working a lot. And I go, oh, good. I had a plan. I go, good. I can get Anna through school. If I work consistently, things will be good. And then that was gone. And then I'm like, oh no, now I got to find a way just to survive. Now it's not about getting ahead; it's about just being able to pay my bills.
Right.
So then I'm like, well, I'm gonna go do Uber Eats. And one thing I always did when I was young, and I don't know if I learned this, I think from my parents, was to always work, always have money coming in. And with 2 kids,
Right.
I gotta have money. I gotta pay bills somewhere. I gotta have money coming in. So it doesn't bother me to get in the car and do Uber Eats. I guess, but another thing that helps it, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but it's exactly what you said. I'm not the only guy out there doing Uber Eats that doesn't want to be doing Uber Eats. You know what I mean? There's at least I bumped into a couple guys at places where like, how's it going? He's like, just trying to survive. And a couple of guys I've talked to, what'd you do before this? And I was an actor. I was working on this, or I was doing this. Or a couple of guys were grips. I made good money. I was working on 3 kids and whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Everybody's doing whatever they can to try and survive now. You're surrounded by people just trying to survive, just trying to figure it out.
I hate to burst your bubble, but before the pandemic, there wasn't anyone doing Uber Eats who wanted to do Uber Eats.
Oh, fuck. Oh, man, that's the funniest thing you said all night. That's hilarious. I stand corrected. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
You're totally correct.
No, but no, you're. I couldn't leave that.
Dude,
joke
you
on the
had to.
table,
That's
but,
hilarious. Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah. But you are 100% right. And at this point, I'm not yet in the position where I have to take another job because I'm so with my ADD, it takes me all day to work on my comedy stuff. But I'm at the point now where if I do have to drive, I bought a nice used car so I can Uber, and there are some of the gig things that I could do. But you're right. The biggest thing about doing a side job when you're a comic is you feel like you only have that gig because you failed as a comic. And now we can look at these side jobs as, you can brag about it and go, yeah, man, I'm doing Uber Eats. Oh, well, I didn't think about that, man. That's good for you. That's good. Because you can listen to comedy, you can listen to news, you can listen to podcasts, you can talk into your phone and write bits and stuff like that. So it really, when it gets to the point where I'm going to have to do something on the side, the one good thing is we're able to look at day jobs now as being more utilitarian, and as a way of. And also, the great thing is because you're so creative and you're doing a show like this that might not bring a lot of money in right away, but it's going to be good for your career in the long run because you're showcasing these talents you have as an interviewer and as a podcaster. And this could lead to a TV show gig, down the road. And so to be able to have a gig where you can make some money, I think takes the pressure off a little bit.
Well, that was when I learned. That's what helped when I was telling the kids, like, it's just like when I started out doing acting and stand up. I would go on the road. When I got to the point I was going on the road, I'd go on the road. I'd go back to Chicago, and I used to work for Kelly Temp Services, and I would do any job they gave me for 6 weeks. And I would purposely book like a run every 6 to 8 weeks. So I'd come home, work for like 6 weeks at a warehouse, and then go back on the road, and then come back home. And so but my theory was this, and this is what I've always done from day one: have a source of money coming in, have something coming in, and find a way to perform and be creative and get your passion out there. And hang on to it. Don't go 2 months without going, well, I'll get back to the comedy after 2 months. Don't do that. Find a way. Do a Zoom show. I don't care if it's once a month or once a week. Write every day. Set up a website. Do a blog. Do this show. Do a sketch. Just do something that you're being creative. I started right at the beginning of the COVID with that reason. Do something creative every day. Because if you go, and the longer you go without doing it, the farther away it gets from you, and you don't think about doing it anymore. And then it can also lead you to a point where you find another job, and suddenly you're making money somewhere else, and you're not even thinking about being creative anymore. And that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake. You find some source of income, and you stay creative every day. And if you do that, to me, I was always happy that way. That always worked. That always made it work. That's probably why I'm still in the business after 30 years and been somewhat successful. You know what I mean? I'm not a big name. I don't have a house. I don't have, I never had a deal. I never had any other stuff. I've always been the guy that kind of fell into a situation and had to work my way out of it. But I've been able to stay creative through all of it. And I think that's why.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you described basically was when somebody is like almost like physical therapy for comedy, like comedic therapy, because when somebody gets injured and they break a leg or a rotator cuff or something like that, they have to exercise every day and they have to go to physical therapy. And we've lost our career. We've lost our stage time, and what we've all been doing for the past 6 months, those of us that are keeping, sharp and doing whatever we can, you with, working the road, but also doing, this show and doing your writing and everything, and me with the Zoom shows. And I've submitted for like two TV shows, late night shows. I've got a writing manager out and a literary manager out in LA.
Nice.
So I've done some packets and stuff. I didn't get the gig or an interview, but you know how it is.
Still did, yeah. But somebody reads it now, and they're booking something 6 months later, and like, hey, remember Jeff Shaw's thing? Would be great. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
So what you just described a minute ago was like almost like it's physical therapy. And you can't expect to go back at full speed. You can't expect to put all your weight on that leg.
Yeah, right,
you know what
right.
I mean? But as long as you're doing a little bit every day, you're going to be up and running before you know it. And all those little baby steps and all those torturous sessions of like when it was hard and when you didn't want to do it, because it can be excruciating.
Yeah.
But what's great though is because you're an accomplished actor too, and I've seen your reel. You've been in like so many great shows and everything. It's like I think it's awesome that that you can knock on someone's door, give them their food, and they go, "Hey, didn't I see you in that one show?" I'm like, yeah,
dude, that happened to me once, dude, years ago. This is way back when I was still married. Right when I moved to LA, I did a show called Close to Home, and it was on, and then they reran it later. And at that time, I was delivering something. I'm always delivering food somehow. It's always been my backup gig. So I'm delivering food somewhere, and I knock on a door, and I'm not kidding. I'm not even making this up. I knock on the door. They open the door, and I go, "It's whatever, $24.50." And the guy walks away to get money, and as he walks away, I look at the screen of the TV, and it's frozen, and it's my scene. So he's paused the scene that I'm in on Close to Home to answer the door, and I look up, and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's me." I'm on the TV, and the wife is sitting on the couch. And she looks at the door for a second, and then she looks back up at me, and she looks at the TV, and she looks at me. And I go, "Yeah, that's me." And he comes back and he buys the food. He's like, "No kidding, really, man?" And he was a dude, and he was an actor, so he got it. It's like, "Oh, dude, great gig, nice job," because it's not like, "Oh, well, too bad you're not acting." I mean, in LA, you're either doing a TV gig or you're delivering food or waiting tables or bartending or something like that. So they totally got it. We all laughed. It was a hilarious moment. You're like, how ironic is this? I'm delivering food while you're watching me on TV.
Well, my new dream is like 2 months from now, I'm going to be working at Quiznos and someone's going to come get their sandwich and they're going to go, "Hey, didn't I see you on Lenny Schmidts' Quarantine Comedy?"
Yeah. Aren't you the guy with that Uber joke? That was a great joke. Remember no one wanted to be an Uber driver? That was funny.
Yeah,
anyway,
that was me.
That was
6-inch or 12-inch.
Yeah, can I have mustard on that? Yeah, that's great. Oh, man. That's hilarious. All right, dude, Jeff, we got to go, man. It's over an hour. Dude, this is great. This is awesome. What else? You get something you want to plug? Anything else? You mentioned your dates, the Dry Bar special. I mentioned the gigs.
My website is jeffthefundude.com. All my dates are on there. And my album will be coming out on Tour Records in the fall, ontourrecords.com. It's the same record company that does the Well Read comedy tour. And my book right here is a fun dude's guide to cruising. I have them signed and bagged, so after my show, I just hand them to people.
Oh, right.
It's available. It's a Dave Barry-ish type book about cruising. Like it's a humor book,
but
beautiful. I tackle every aspect of cruising, from waiting in line to get on the ship. It's called a cruise line, remember? And to the end of the cruise when you put your luggage and children out in the hallway for housekeeping to collect. So I cover every aspect of cruising. That's on Amazon.com as a Kindle or a paperback.
Oh, great.
And if you run a Google search for Dry Bar Comedy, Jeff Shaw, my special will come up.
Okay, is it still Man Girly Man, or did they change the name? Or
yeah. Because the first clip from the special that came out last year was called Manly Girly Man. It had the same name as the special.
Yeah.
They changed the name of the special for YouTube, and they called it Men Don't Want to Be Women, which I thought was kind of a stupid title, but
Did they change it for you? Did they change it for you?
Yeah, they changed it for me. And speaking of dry bar comedy, they've got some cool shows. And Mike Paramore does a relationship show, and I'm going to be on that on the 20th.
Okay, cool.
That's streaming live through Dry Bar Comedy.
How much is the book on Amazon? What do you charge for the book? Do you know?
$9.99.
Okay, cool.
And,
all right. No, go ahead.
And then the Kindle is like $2.99.
Okay, cool.
And then the bag is a nickel. You can get the bag separately. You just go to Housewares, kitchen supplies.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. That's good. That's good. Dude, all right. I'll put all that stuff in the bio of the video afterwards. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Yeah, and then I've got some cool bags if I ever do Uber Eats. I can.
Yeah, dude, they come in handy. Trust me. Yeah, I'll be hitting you up for those bags later. Trust me, I can use the Uber Eats.
But great job on this show. I try to watch most.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. I'm glad I could have you on, like you said, when it was all better. Because I had you on to that first wave when it was just it was crappy. It was be live and the sound was messed up and the graphics were stupid and it was all weird. So now this
is beautiful. It's like it's a show.
Yeah.
And if you really need a compliment to send you to bed tonight with a smile on your face, I don't wash my hair for just any podcast.
Oh yeah, right on, man. I'm special. I'll take it. I'll take the clean Jeff Shaw. Dude, everyone give Jeff Shaw a round of applause, man. That was awesome. Thank you very much. That's my good friend Jeff Shaw. Let's see if I can do this right this time. I keep doing it wrong constantly. Yeah, I did it right this time. That's Jeff Shaw. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys were great. As always, I can't thank you enough. Thank you very much for tuning into the show. Again, there's no show Wednesday. Friday night will be a best of, worst of show. I've been talking about doing one for some time. And actually, there's going to a clip of Jeff from the old show will be on that show. Actually, the first show I did with Jeff was so messed up that there's a clip on there that's funny that I'm going to use. There's a lot of little clips of me screwing stuff up Friday. That's what Friday's going to be. Best of, worst of. So there you go. No show Wednesday, Friday, best of, worst of. And there might be some extra live shows coming up around the corner. You don't know. And that's all I have. That's it. Besides that, I will be on a plane tomorrow. If you're in the Oklahoma City area, please come on out to Looney Bin and catch me at Looney Bin. Besides that, you guys were great. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are so sweet on an off night. I appreciate it. Larry, I will see you in a couple of days. And the rest of you guys, do me a favor, please. Dream of Pinky.
Lenny Schmidt Quarantine Comedy was created, produced, and is hosted by Lenny Schmidt. We live stream on YouTube at 6 p.m. Pacific every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Special episodes occasionally stream or are uploaded on Tuesday and Thursday. Every episode is also launched as a podcast and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. If you enjoyed the show, please like the video. If you really like it, share the video. If you really, really like it, please subscribe to the Lenny Schmidt Comedy channel on YouTube. You'll get updates on this and numerous other online comedy content that my dad produces. Check the info section below for detailed information on all of our guests. If you are a fan, you can follow and support them as well. Go to their page, like their content, buy their albums, purchase their shirt, any merch they may be selling. Anything you do will support performers, will literally help save the arts. In fact, if you want to support this show financially, just go to lennyschmidt.com/ifyoucan or Venmo at Lenny Schmidt Comedy. If you donate as little as $1 or as much as $10,000, it will help pay for the stuff my dad keeps breaking. If you can't pay for the comedy content, that's okay. COVID sucks for all of us. Enjoy the free show. If you want to find a way to support what we do, just subscribe to Lenny Schmidt Comedy channel on YouTube. That really helps a lot. Thank you for listening to my dad's show, and as always, dream of Pinky.